Got a guest joining us here this morning. We had mentioned here earlier, author Bob Wells, wrote a book called Voices of Wawate, and quite an interesting story how the two of you actually ended up getting talking because he called up one day at the office here.
Yeah,
right?
I was working reception one day, and then
Yeah.
he had answered his call, and he asked what organization this was, and he said that he found our phone number in I think it was WAB, the WAB website,
Okay.
WAAB. And yeah, we just started talking. He said he's got an audiobook out, and the audiobook was based about his three childhood friends that went through residential school, and he wanted to focus that on their life and how it affected them and still affects them, and how it's going to be affecting our generation and the generations to come. And then I thought, you know what? This would make a great interview. Just to get the people out there listening, and if they want, wanting to learn about what a lot of our people had gone through and still going through, and just bring more focus and light to residential school survivors. And
And he's joining us this
and
morning.
he's on the line right now.
Hi, good morning, Bob.
Good morning.
How are you today?
I am fine.
We thank you so much for speaking
Carry
with
on.
us. And to tell, I guess, where do we start? I guess the whole process of this book, like Angela was just mentioning here, focuses on three friends of yours that you actually had grown up with?
Well, yes, I think it starts back when I was a child. I grew up in northwestern Ontario, 104 miles down the railroad track from the nearest town. And when I stepped out of what I thought at that time was my white Christian household, I lived in the Aboriginal world. And I used to visit an elder every day, and we would talk about hunting. And he would take me on journeys that he was quite old. He wasn't able to, his mobility was bad. And we would go on hunting journeys, and I never knew if they happened 20 years ago or 250 years ago. But by the time I was 10 years old, I was very well equipped to hunt, and by the time I was 12, I was having 35 and 40-year-old men coming and asking me if they could go hunting with them. And he asked me many, many times to draw words on paper to tell my kind how bad Indian people were being treated. And I made that promise. And about 3 years ago, I woke up one morning and I said to my wife, I made a promise a long time ago, and I'm going to keep it. And I wrote the book.
And this book actually tells the story of these friends of yours who wanted, I guess, you to pass along the story that they had told you.
Yes, later in life. I like to kind of describe it as the fact that they trusted me to tell their stories, because it's very difficult and very painful, and we spent many, many hours on the telephone. I may have my name on the book as the author, but it's not my story, it's their story. And it's about their experiences in Indian residential schools, or like experiences. Esther grew up in the lowlands of the James Bay area, and one day a man came to the door and took her and her two brothers off to residential school along with 25 other children in the community. Bunny, her father, dropped her off at a residential school when she was a year old and never came back for her. She was treated well. And Stanley actually went to a community day school, and at the time that was the discretion of the Indian agent, and he wasn't treated much better. He was beat up on the first day of school, so bad that he couldn't hold a pencil for 2 weeks because they asked him his name, and he spoke to them in their only language they spoke at home, which was Cree. And he was beaten up because we only speak English here.
So, Bob, what made you make the audiobook? Because usually you'd think it'd be like a paperback or a hard book. But I mean, what gave you that idea to create the audiobook? And the audiobook itself, was it hard for you to get them to come in and share their story through their own voice?
No. I made the audiobook because I wanted to bring the stories to life.
Mm-hmm.
Some people, and to reach out to other people who may not read, like myself, who has dyslexia. I don't read for recreation, and I live here in the city of Kingston, and we had some 20 different people, many from the Aboriginal community here, and from the white community, from Queens, the City Hall, Limestone Board of Education came and gave of themselves to read bits and pieces of the book into an audio book. And surprisingly enough, Sharon Baudin, who is from northern Saskatchewan, read Esther's story, or part of it, and Esther's brother couldn't tell that it wasn't Esther herself reading it.
That's amazing.
It really is.
So, like just the whole process of getting all these people involved in Wawatay, the audiobook, didn't just come from there. I mean, it spanned from all across Canada.
Yes, but the people that made the audiobook, all are people here who now live in Kingston, and the story is representative of 150,000 children who, over a 100-year period, were forcefully taken from their homes to attend residential schools. I like to, when I'm talking to the non-Aboriginal people in presentations, I say just envision that there's a knock on the door and there's an RCMP officer standing there and saying, "I've come to take your children, and if you don't surrender them, we'll take them by force and put you in jail."
That's terrible.
It is.
Just you telling it like that, just
it breaks up.
Yeah, I know, it's sad. And I know there are listeners out there right now. Again, if you're just tuning in, we're talking with Bob Wells, author of Wawatay, which is based on the life of three childhood friends that had to unfortunately experience a residential school about their life, and of course, this still resides with our people today. Now, for those people that are listening, Bob, where can they purchase your audiobook?
The audiobook can be purchased. You can download it from my publisher, which is Trafford Publishing, or you can get it on a CD by sending me an email, and they cost $20, and I'll mail you one. And my email address is rwells6@bell.net. And we're currently in the process of trying to put together a three-part video documentary of the book as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I actually watched one of the trailers on YouTube for Wawatay and caught a couple of clips myself. So, I mean, it's very intriguing, especially like people my age and our younger generation that want to learn about residential school survivors and stuff like that. It's a great thing that you've created.
Well, thank you very much. I truly believe that without understanding this aspect of Canadian history, one can't properly understand Aboriginal people in Canada. And so my hope is to get it into the schools, get as many people listening. A lot of people are really unaware of what happened. Some choose not to be aware of it, and it's really difficult because the issues that First Nations face today are not as we would say when I was a kid, Indian problems. They're our problems, Indian problems.
And the only way to heal as a nation is to help heal each other and understand why things happen, and just the human feeling and emotion, right?
Yes, and I think our goal should be better to try to be ancestors that needing not of apology.
Definitely. Well, thank you so much, Bob, for joining us this morning.
And thank you. This has been a real honor, and I really appreciate the opportunity to do this and talk to the people of Saskatchewan.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Again, that was Bob Wells, the author of audiobook Wawate, based on 3 childhood friends that he grew up with and their life in regards to residential school and how it affected them and still do. And for our generation and the next generations, if you would like to purchase Wawate, you can email Bob at rwells, RWELLS 6 at bell.net, and we'll be posting his email address on our Facebook page.
All right. Well, thank you so much there for that there, Bob. We greatly appreciate it.